disability requirements necessary for attendance at mayor and council meetings. The fire exits are located through the double doors to your left. Please silence all cell phones and pages. Council, public, I remind you, if you're addressing or speaking, please speak into the mic so that they can hear you at home. Roll call, please.
Councilman DeGeis? Here. Councilman Frank?
Here.
Councilman Kelly?
Here.
Councilwoman Lewis?
Here.
Councilman Myerson?
Here.
Councilman Pizzella?
Here.
Okay, at this time I'm going to appoint Councilman Lewis as the insurance commissioner for the term expiring December 31st, 2014. This doesn't require any vote or anything, correct?
No, it's your appointments.
So, Chris, are you okay with that, right?
Yes, thank you, Max.
Okay. Before I get to the next thing, okay, I have to accept a letter first and vote on
Yeah.
that.
That's why I put that rule.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to jump to correspondence. C1 letter dated February 4th, 2014, resignation of Kimberly Hampton Saul from the Hillsdale Board of Health. Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, back to the regular order of business, council appointment. We're going to look for motions to appoint Louisa Tolida to an unexpired term replacing Ann Deutsch, expiring December 31st, 2015. And Lanning Myerson, should I do these separate, Larry?
It's a good idea, yes.
Yeah, you should. I didn't think
Okay,
that was
I need a motion and a second on Louisa.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then I'm going to appoint Elaine Myerson to an unexpired term for Kimberly Hampton Saul, term expiring December 31st, 2016. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Just for the public's sake, and I don't have a problem with this, she's a hard worker and will fit in well. This is Councilman Myerson's wife, and there's no reason why she can't be appointed to this board, if the council votes for it. Roll call, please.
Councilmember DeGeis? Yes. Councilmember Frank?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lewis?
Yes.
Councilman Myerson?
Abstain.
Councilman Pizzella?
Yes.
Council President Kelly?
Yes.
Okay, now the nice part of being the mayor, I get an opportunity to present my award. I signed the contract. Come up.
I told you it wasn't going to be on the agenda. You don't listen.
I can't believe you started when you were 6.
Here. Mark, you've put a long time in the borough. People think I've been serving as in government for a long time. This is a heck of a lot longer. For people who don't know, Mark was in our DPW for 40 years. And prior to the DPW we have now, you were in the, what was it called, sanitation, and headed that up for many, many years. And then when we outsourced sanitation, he came back into the regular DPW. And for people that don't know Mark, when you see our sweeper go by, and I call it the Queen's Wave when he's like this, that's Mark. So Mark, I'm very pleased to give you an award for 40 years of service, well deserved. How you put up with those guys for 40 years and how they put up with you for 40 years, I think is more important, is amazing. So thank you for your service, and I'm looking forward to more. Okay, now we don't have to vote on the contract. Okay, we have no oaths of office, no proclamations. We did them off. Next is approval of minutes. We have the sign and die meeting, January 5th, 2014, reorganization meeting, January 5th, 2014, special meeting, January 10th, 2014, a regular meeting, January 23rd, 2014. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now I have a second one, closed session meeting, January 23rd, 2013. Motion?
Motion.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Larry, did you vote? Is that one of those that you couldn't sit in on? I heard someone say nay.
Me.
Oh, okay.
No, wait, you didn't ask for,
Okay, professional reports. We had,
Hold on, Max.
you didn't.
January 10th.
You're supposed to ask.
talk into the mic, I can't hear you.
Supposed to ask for abstentions also, if you.
I'm sorry, what?
I can't vote no or yes on a closed session I wasn't at. Wait a minute, was I at this one? Oh, you know what, I mixed this
That was
up
the
with the.
23rd.
I'm sorry, I mixed this up with the special meeting because we voted on the, did I mix this up with the special meeting on December?
No, that was on the 10th.
Right, okay, I mixed this up, all right, fine, yes, I'm voting yes on this, I
The
apologize.
special meeting was in December, you're talking about it,
No,
right?
no, we
I
had the
got
one
confused.
January 10th.
I got confused.
Oh, the other one, okay. All right, Larry?
Yeah, I'm fine. Sorry,
Okay.
my mistake, I apologize.
Professional reports, Borough Engineer dated January 28, 2014. We got the monthly reports from the Ambulance Corps, Construction, DPW, Fire Department, Board of Health, Hillsdale Library, Police, and Recreation. Motion to receipt and file all reports, please.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Old business. Supplemental snow plowing, Councilman DeGeis.
Mayor, thank you. As I talked to the mayor and the administrator today, there is a recommendation from the intern superintendent and the administrator that we look for some additional snow plowing help when needed. The bids went out in November. They're still valid. There was a slight price increase on the low bid, but it was under the 20%. Mr. Bernstein has looked over it for Downs Tree Service to come in. We have requested one salt truck and one F-350, 450 size truck to come in and plow the west side of town, starting immediately, pending approval of this. If this is passed tonight, they will be in town tomorrow to pick up their route list and review the route. Their foreman is in Saddle River, the two guys that will be working here. It's an on as needed basis. They're paid per hour. The truck, the smaller truck's $140 an hour. The larger truck is $165 an hour. I'm sorry, $180 an hour. They don't supply salt. We supply the salt and grit for the roads.
What about fuel? Do we provide that, or
No,
they provide?
they provide fuel.
Okay.
The insurance documentation will be faxed over to Sue's office tomorrow morning, along with a purchase order agreement for.
Do we need any hold harmless or anything like that, Eric, or is insurance?
Yes, they're sending it tomorrow. Everything.
That and the insurance?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, Doug?
Question, what, define the west side of town, is it Pascack
They're
Road,
gonna-
or?
They won't do Pascack Road. They're going to do everything west of Pascack Road. They're going to start up on Hillsdale Ave there. They'll work the mains up there, then they'll go into the secondaries, and then they'll go into the side streets.
So they're
They'll
gonna
work
do
the hill section.
They're gonna do the county roads also?
Whatever county roads are up there, they'll do. For this storm, we're not pre-salting. For this big storm, obviously salt's a factor, so they won't be pre-treating the streets. If we need a pre-treatment up there because of a traffic or something, the regular DPW will get called out to go do that.
Okay.
Question.
Frank, you got a question?
Yeah, maybe I missed something, but I'm trying to, do we know that there's enough in the budget to cover this additional?
I spoke to Larry tonight. Well, first of all, the budget's not set, so
Right.
it's as much as you want to be in the budget. Larry, the finance chairman, is in favor of it. We will offset some of these costs by the part-timers that we hire, possibly overtime in the DPW when they get into the longer hours, when it's, 20 hours, 24 hours cycles. The reason this is being rushed, we're expecting a big storm on Thursday. We had one of our men get hurt today in an accident while working. I don't know how much he can do. He hurt his back, and truthfully, riding in those trucks when you have a back injury is not the most pleasant experience in the world. With the bouncing and everything. So it's a day by day with that individual. So that's why I was called today, and we made a decision to put on the agenda tonight. Truthfully, if we hadn't had a meeting tonight, I would have pulled the council or done whatever Eric told me to do to go ahead with it. Since we didn't have a meeting, if we had to call a special meeting, we would have done that. Time is of the essence on this.
Jason did some research on the finances of this, and he wants to comment on this.
I can help you with the truck number. It's costing us about $135 an hour to run a truck up there, overtime hours, roughly, with a guy in the truck. So the differential that we're spending is not tremendous. I did look, and we, as you know, the budget's not struck yet, but we have $46,000 in the snow trust account. I don't plan on tapping into it, but we do have it there if we need to. This is coming on our 8th snowstorm and 2 ice storms, and they must have been out 15, 16 times salting already this year. So the guys are doing a great job. This is just to help them out a little bit. We did talk to the shop steward and to the intern superintendent, called all of them. I think they're all pretty much in agreement that they need some help at this point, and that's the area they want the help.
Do you think that this would sort of compensate for, I mean, I don't know about everyone up here, but I myself received quite a few complaints via email about the plowing that was
Nothing to
going
do with
on.
that last storm. That last storm got ahead of us a little bit. It was a very, very, very tough storm, as it was a tremendous amount of weight on the trucks and equipment. By 4:30 that afternoon, we caught up with the roads. We started to catch back up again. Very, very difficult storm. As you know, everybody owns SUVs and four-wheel drive vehicles, and unfortunately, daytime storms don't keep people home. There's a lot of cars parked on the side of the streets. We've had many meetings this week about that. It's just a tough storm for them. But if
Do you think
see,
this will help out?
oh, this
with
will help out tremendously. It's not going to help out if you get behind the storm. It's going to help out doing a little bit of their work.
Frank, as far as the storm, the condition of Hillsdale of last week, I will address that, but I did
Okay.
hold a meeting of all the department heads. Councilman DeGeis was there, the DPW superintendent, liaison, the superintendent was there. Actually, Council President Kelly happened to be in the area, so he sat in. We addressed everything in a very open and very direct manner. And I'm pretty sure that everything has been addressed. One of the big problems, I'll do it now, is we ran out of salt.
Okay.
Between Sue and I, within half an hour after the meeting was over, we were able to guarantee 25 tons of salt this morning, which was picked up. And we were supposed to get another 50 tons of salt delivered, but we got 25. I've met with the powers that be this afternoon. The second 25 came? So I got 50 this afternoon? And the one this morning. So we got all 75 tons that was promised. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. So, the salt situation was taken care of. As soon as I heard, I didn't know. I'm not saying I could have taken care of this Friday, but I would, if I had known, maybe we could have jumped on it sooner, but I have to compliment Kathy Donovan's office. Sue and I got into on speakerphone to, we couldn't reach Kathy, we got Chewinski, what's his?
Administrator.
County administrator, and I don't say I threatened him, but
It's pretty
we
sad
were
that salt is
stern
political.
in our message to him as to, everybody's looking for salt. But I care about Hillsdale. I don't want to know about everybody. I want to know about Hillsdale.
Max, how much does the shed hold, the canopy? Is it 400 tons?
400 tons.
So that's what we had in there at the end of
On
December?
December 31st, that thing was full to capacity and every drop was used. And on Monday, there was nothing in there. And by the time we finished with this meeting, as I said, this morning the stuff started arriving, and by the way, I would point out to everyone, we're not done. I met with Kathy Donovan's aide this afternoon or this morning, and this tonnage that we got will not get us through the winter.
Won't even get
The
us through
deputy governor was with me today, and I talked to her about it. She said to me, Governor Christie is already on top of that. There was a problem at the docks. Everybody has problems, but bottom line is, I said, fine, when can I expect salt? She said, I can't tell you that, but you will be getting salt. We are going to have salt in the state. That's what caused a lot of our problems with the icing. The plowing, we had 2 trucks go down. One's still down. That's one of the reasons this backup truck is going to help, because otherwise we would be short 1 truck in the routes.
It's up and
correct?
running. It's up and running.
The transmission was fixed?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got all our equipment going.
Is that because, but the use of the salt, I'm just trying to understand, is that because we just had more storms this year, or?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
are we above, where are we on our budget-wise for salt?
Well, they
Are we
owe us 22 loads. Out of the 22 loads, probably 8 are due through the county through reimbursement, because we do the county roads.
Okay.
There's a huge shortage throughout the state of New Jersey, New York, with salt getting delivery. So we were already behind 22. I told the council at the last meeting that I wasn't kidding when we had 5 pounds of salt left. We hired an independent trucking firm out of Westwood to truck in grit, because you can't even get that through the county. They're not releasing it. We've been mixing in for the last 2 weeks, last 10 days, grit and salt to make it go further. But there's a severe shortage. 50 tons of salt is 1 storm, just to give you an idea of what we use. 50 to 75 tons is 1 storm, especially with the cold weather. You apply the salt during the day, it re-ices at night, the standby guy's out salting again, and you're using another 25 tons. The secondary saltings are just on main roads. Primary saltings are on all roads that we deem hazardous.
Okay. Thank you. I
Some of the
appreciate
things that we're going to be looking at for this year, possibly, definitely next year, brine, pre-treating the roads like some of the towns do, liquid calcium chloride. All of these options will require equipment, and you guys and gals are going to have to decide, can we afford to buy it? Can we borrow it? Can we share it with someone else? These are all things that we're going to be looking at so that this is avoided for the future. It was all addressed at the meeting.
What are the plans? My street is a sheet ice. What are the plans to address some of that before this next storm?
It's not going to be addressed before the storm. We will put out some grit in troubled areas tomorrow. There's going to be 0 pre-salting before the storm because of the heavy intensity that we plan on the storm. We will get back, and all primaries and secondaries will be salted with grit and salt. After this incoming storm, we're hoping to have another 50 tons of salt supposedly delivered early next week. They just updated weather. We have a possible storm Friday night and another one Sunday. So we got to be secondaries
Friday
and Sunday.
Thursday or Thursday?
Friday and Sunday again after this
No
one.
Thursday?
Friday night and Sunday night. Then Friday night and then Sunday. So secondaries are going to remain slippery. If we can get the salt, we'll get the salt, but they're going to remain slippery. We did change 6 of the plows to steel blades. We took off the rubber blades off the plows. We're hoping with the warming temperature, if we can get out there and scrape some. It's not a miracle, but we'll get out there.
Problem I had last night, I hit some hard ice making a corner onto Maple to go to the library meeting, and took a little piece of trim on my car back. But the problem is the corners are cut kind of square right now, and it's frozen.
I addressed that
Several
also, but the
times,
problem is we got nowhere to put it.
I guess it's too hard
But
to
I
plow.
asked them to try and cut back some of the corners, especially the sidewalk, so you can get, like I did my sidewalk, but you can't get out of my sidewalk because I can't get through the ice. So I addressed that also.
They cut the corners that around the schools, the library, some of the important ones, the high travel areas, but they can't get to everything. And what they are getting to is using the big equipment because it's solid ice.
Salt is our biggest thing. We had to go down today we ran out of calcium chloride. I know you can't get it anymore. We had to send a truck down today to get it 1 pallet, and the price went obviously skyrocketing because nobody has it. So
This is the worst I remember. It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. There's 16 municipalities tonight that don't have any salt for this coming storm. 16 towns in Bourbon County.
All right, and so that's the report I was going to give. I am hoping that this storm, well, two storms,
3
the
storms.
results will be different, but I will point out to you again, there's nowhere to put this stuff. They cleared, like for example, the downtown so that the merchants had, parking spaces, and that we didn't narrow Broadway. They took the snow to Centennial Field. I told them when Centennial Field parking lot's full, they're gonna take it to Stony Brook. I'm hoping that it'll be melted by the summer season the way we're going. But don't worry, we're having global warming. All right, anything else on this? I will compliment Jason. He had, while I was upset that I didn't know that there was no salt, he was working on it. And I knew that, well, bottom line is, he put a lot of hours to get this thing moving forward, and hopefully the system will work. We have ordinances. 1405, an ordinance to amend Ordinance 1313, provide for determine the rate, amount, and method of payment of compensation to persons holding certain offices and positions of employment in the Borough of Hillsdale, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey. Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. Okay, roll call, please.
I think Doug had a discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry, Doug.
Could you explain, just for me and for the public, why we're amending a 2013 ordinance with a 2014 ordinance? I understand that this is to allow for a position, and it wasn't on the 2013, but why wouldn't this just be a 2014 ordinance?
Because the last salary ordinance in effect is the 2013 ordinance. If the last salary ordinance in effect was the 2012, you'd be amending a 2012 ordinance.
So this is back to the salary ordinance?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
Here. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
I'm sorry. Councilman DeGeis?
Yes.
Councilman Frank?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lewis?
Yes.
Councilman Morrison?
Yes.
Councilman Pizzella?
Yes.
Council President Kelly?
Yes.
Okay, resolutions. I am pulling 14049. We're gonna do that on the 3/11 meeting, and 14053. So we got 14047, appointing community development representatives, 14048, approve annual tonnage grant and application for 2013, 14050, award and execute contract for animal control services to Tyco, 14051, authorize and execute lease agreements, Nextel of New York, 14052, appoint municipal housing liaison. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember DeGeis?
Yes.
Councilmember Frank?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lewis?
Yes.
Councilman Morrison?
Yes.
Councilman Pizzella?
Yes.
Council President Kelly?
Officer consent agenda. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
14046, payment of bills. Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
And I will say before they say, Councilman DeGeis and Councilman Kelly will not be voting for anything that pertains to the fire department when they make their vote. Roll call, please.
Councilmember DeGeis?
Abstain to any and all bills related to and or the fire department. Approve all their bills. Yes.
Councilman Frank?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lewis?
Yes.
Councilman Morrison?
Yes.
Councilman Pizzella?
Yes.
Council President Kelly?
I abstain on any and all bills related to the fire department. Approve all other bills.
14054, emergency temporary budget. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
For the sake of the public, I will point out that until a budget is established by the borough and approved by the state, we cannot, we have to continue to do emergency temporary budgets. Not that there's an emergency going on, it's the normal process. Roll call, please.
Councilmember DeGeis?
Yep.
Councilman Frank?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lewis?
Yes.
Councilman Morrison?
Yes.
Councilman Pizzella?
Yes.
Council President Kelly?
Yes.
Okay, before I open the meeting to the public, Captain Beebe, did you want to address the council?
John Beatty, 64 Westdale Ave. Just to get this all into you before tonight's meeting. The monthly report for the Hillsdale Ambulance Corps. For service calls, there were 111 requests for an ambulance handled by our dispatch. Of those 111, 44 were in mutual aid towns. Of the 111, 33 medical emergencies, 25 traumas, 10 motor vehicle accidents, 15 refusal of medical assistance, 8 EATOH, ATRA, which is like a transport to Bergen Regional usually, 4 psych calls, 7 transportations, 2 fire standbys. One was a working fire that we worked at around 1 in the morning with the fire department. It was a job well done. And we were canceled 7 times, not 70. We received mutual aid 13 times, so we actually handled 98 calls last month, which, since I became captain, was surpassed our top number by about 15. So thank you to all of our members who are at home, especially those that are now back at college, because that really helped us out in January. A little stats for you guys. For the month of January, our dispatch time to our ambulance zone responding was for 85 of our calls, meaning that those calls were from 1 minute and above. Those were a 6-minute average for our ambulance to go in service, and 13 other calls were in under 1 minute, meaning either our crew was already at the building, we were just getting them off another call, and we went right responding. Our dispatch to on-scene time is 9 minutes for all 98 calls, so that means whether we were traveling to the far side of Montvale, which we did once, far side of Rivervale, which we did once, the average was 9 minutes. We spent 244 man hours on calls, on actual 911 calls, and another 1,594 scheduled hours of duty for all of our members combined. We recently had 3 members graduate from EMT school in Paramus. 2 of those members already took the New Jersey State EMT exam and passed with flying colors, so I'd like to congratulate them. The 3rd is scheduled to take the test later this month. We have 5 new members actually enrolled in EMT school for the spring. 3 of them are cadets in high school, 2 adults. This is our 60th anniversary year, so we're going to be doing a lot of things hopefully in the community. If you guys see us out there, feel free to stop by and visit us. We have a Facebook page that's up and running. We've got a lot of people on that. We post out announcements like about the storm, so we've definitely been on top of that. So if you guys are on Facebook, feel free to look for us. And we just purchased new CPR training equipment so that we can start to do some more community-based CPR classes, as well as private-based courses for anybody else interested. That's all.
Once again, the Eagle has soared. I'm very pleased. Thank you.
I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. One of the most proactive volunteer association around. Fantastic job. Keep it going.
Thank you.
Okay, I will open the meeting to the public. Anyone wishing to address the council, please come to the microphone. Please speak into the mic and give your name and address. Anyone wishing to address us? Yes, sir. This is on anything? Any subject?
There was an article in the Community Life February 6th that raised questions about appointments.
About what?
The author had a particular point of view on it, but it raised in my mind just a couple of factual questions that as a
Sure.
citizen I just want to ask. The DPW superintendent was listed in this letter, as acting. Is that true?
Yes.
So we're moving to replace this individual?
What happened, Keith Dury, who was our superintendent, is technically still our superintendent. Because of terminal leave and everything, he's on payroll as, with the title of superintendent until May 31st.
End of May.
What?
End of May.
End of May. So you have to appoint an acting superintendent to replace him. We are in the process of looking at how we're going to replace him, and by June 1st, we have to have, or should have, someone there to replace him. But the person that's in there now is temporary.
And the other question is broader. It just gets maybe to the heart of how the council in this town does appoint people to various positions. And I'm curious as to what policy the borough uses to vet candidates. Like you just said, somebody will be coming up or will be thinking about replacing Pete's position. But in more general way, does the borough have a policy in place that directs it in terms of how to go about to fill positions?
A formal policy written out, there's a procedure of who does interviews, as far as vetting.
That's in writing?
Yeah, it's part of the borough handbook, I guess you would call
Committees,
it.
it's your committees, it's your
Yeah,
bylaws.
it's the bylaws of the committees. The personnel committee interviews, the person's background is looked into, or his resume is reviewed, references are contacted, but then the entire council must vote on the management positions to bring them in. And they could ask, if they so choose, and should, to meet the person before the hire, to interview them at a public meeting, but closed session, and then a decision will be made by the majority of who to hire.
So there's a committee, at a committee level?
Right, the personnel committee, you know, you look for resumes, you say you get 50 resumes, you wean them down, maybe you interview 10, 15 people, then you cut that down, and then maybe you bring 2 or 3, 4 people before the council, and then the full council makes a
Council's
decision.
approval is required. That's all I need.
Okay, you're welcome. Anyone else wishing? No concerts this week. Too icy. Well, that could be done, but you're not doing anything in Veterans Park, that's for sure. Go.
I'm Elizabeth Ford, 47 East Liberty Avenue, Hillsdale. I'm curious as to the budget process and how that's moving along in town. When the draft budget should be ready and available to the public to review, and after that, the public comment period. And what is the deadline to present it to Trent?
The deadline is fixed sometime, I think it's the second week of February, but that's extendable.
I don't believe it's actually, at the moment, technically been.
It hasn't been set.
I've heard March
That's what I mean.
11th
By the Department
March
of
11th, March
Affairs.
14th is what I'm hearing now.
Okay, March 14th, but
Yeah, well, to pass your budget, yes.
To hopefully.
I think with all these storms that we're having, you're gonna see these things being extended out because of expenses. As far as our process, I was informed tonight by the administrator that they're having a finance meeting tomorrow night, which they should be finishing up with their process, where 3 council people, Councilman Zagais, Councilman Frank with Councilman Meyerson as the chair, will then have the books, as we call it, created with all the numbers in it, and then we will have full council meetings to review it. And then Larry, Councilman Meyerson and I discussed this, and I believe we will have a separate meeting for the public to come. The budget will be available for your review, and public comment at that time will be taken, and then the budget will be adopted.
So the finance committee meets, the council meets, and then the public has the opportunity.
Right. It might take more than one meeting for the full council. Understand, no one on council other than the finance committee has seen the budget. Because of an absentee on Friday, I attended, but other than that, other than those 3 departments, I haven't seen the budget.
Well,
Once it's all
nobody's
done,
seen the
we'll all
budget.
see it.
Nobody's seen the whole budget yet. We've had several meetings on the finance committee, and over the last several weeks. And what happens is the department heads come with their proposed budget individual, and once we get through each line item with the department heads, like for example the DPW or the police department, at that point, which we're wrapping up hopefully tomorrow night with all the different department heads and all the different sections of the budget, then we could sit with our CFO and put together a book to see what the entire thing looks like, and then bring in the revenue piece and the stuff that the completion from that our Paul Lurch is doing, our auditor do from last year, and put together an entire budget book. And once we do that, we'll be able to see a larger picture, and we bring it to the council, and there's debates and discussions with the council, which will be in public, and then a presentation to the.
We'll have enough time to get a copy
Oh
or
yeah.
a copy,
Oh yeah.
review
Yeah.
it, and
Yeah.
then.
Yes.
In
Yeah.
fact, you mentioned department heads and police, and you mentioned DPW. So I'm wondering if their salaries have been settled. I heard that.
That's
We
on the
haven't voted on
agenda
it
for tonight.
Haven't been-
That's on the agenda for tonight for approval.
okay.
understand that when we have the council, the full council budget process, when the full council reviews the budget, that is a public meeting, and there's always public comment. But the budget itself won't be available to the public because it won't be done yet.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? No one? Seeing no one? I'll close the meeting to the public. We're gonna go to last go-around of the council. I started with you last week, right, Doug? So I'll go down.
I don't remember.
Saw me last
I
week.
started with you, so I'll start with Jason.
As you know, just we have these impending storms. This meeting, when I say we're very low on salt or have no salt, the mayor's listening, I know. Thank you, Mayor, for all your help the last couple of days, and Sue, and the interim superintendent, Butch, and to all the guys that are out there 14, 15 hours at the DPW working endlessly. Mark, Barry, thank you guys for all you do. I know you're not always happy with everything, but we get through the storms, and I appreciate all the hard work you guys do.
Is that it? Thank you. Bruce?
I just want to congratulate Mark for his 40 years, and thank you very much for your service. Wanted to remind the seniors we have a luncheon January 19th, Wednesday, 11 a.m.
You mean
February. Thank you. February 19th.
No, she said January, so I don't.
February 19th, 11 a.m. at St. John's, and that's it. Be safe.
Larry?
Mark, again, 40 years. I'm just trying to think I'm older than you. I was thinking if I've done anything for 40 years, and I just came up short. I've been married 38 years. That's the closest I get, but I really came up short. I also would like everybody to keep it a secret that I didn't vote for my wife tonight. I don't want anybody to tell my wife that because she'll get mad at me that I abstained from the vote. But I want to thank the council for voting her into the, I know she'll do a great job. For people who don't know my wife, she's the executive director of Shelter Our Sisters. She's probably the #1 domestic violence expert in the state of New Jersey, and I think that the Board of Health, actually the name came from them, which I do appreciate, and Chris marshalling that through. Thank you very much. And I say this apparently every council meeting. Drive safe.
Thank you. Go.
Me? I'd like to give a little advertisement for the library. Their annual report will be out shortly, within the next week or so. I've talked about the programs they put in place, like the museum passes that are available free of charge to members. They have digital books. I think last month I talked about all the digital magazine subscriptions that you can download for free through the Buckle system. And briefly mention the Makerspace program that they just instituted, and they just had a 3D printer installed, and they're going through some testing on it where you can actually take a CAD program and make a part, and it'll actually print out that part in a plastic. It's really amazing, and you'll be hearing more about that. But some interesting statistics. The Hillsdale Library has 30% higher circulation than any library in the area. And that's only 3 of them that are even that close. The others are even much lower. We have 6,500 plus card holders, which is about 65% of our population in town, and about 3,400 of them are regular users. They had 108,000. They counted approximately 108,000 individual visitors to the library in 2013, and our children's library has a higher circulation than 50% of the Buckle system libraries in the county. So we've got a very, very vibrant library. It's an important part of the town. If you've ever been there after school lets out and see the kids that are in there working on the computers, doing projects and all, you'd realize what a critical part of the town it is. So I just hope that the public will continue to support it. And I have one other thing that I want to talk about. I had the privilege of interviewing a couple of combat vets as part of a project we're doing for the American Legion.
God bless.
We're videotaping the interviews and they're up on our website. And if you ever want a true definition of what a public servant is, it's not somebody like us. It's some of these guys and what they've gone through. We just put up an interview with Marco Lovrich, who is 93 years old. He's a World War II veteran. Served and fought in New Guinea, the Philippines, The interesting story, Marco is a native of Croatia, came here when he was 15. He was drafted when he wasn't even an American citizen into the Army and fought for our country. He was shot in the neck in battle fighting the Japanese in the Philippines, and it's just, it has a Purple Heart. It's a great story, a great interview. I recommend that if you can, go to the American Legion website and look under interviews and listen to his story. And these are the kind of heroes that live amongst us. One of the guys that I did an interview with is Randy Driscolla, who used to be a council member here. And Randy was a Marine Corps helicopter pilot in Vietnam. And he talks about his missions and the things that he saw over there. He flew from 1967 to 1968. And thanks to Jay Campbell, who videoed and put together the interview with Marco, and Zoltan Horvath, who did it for Randy Driscolla. But I do recommend, if you get a chance, it's American Legion, post162.org. And these are people that live in our community that did a lot for our country. That's all I have.
Well, I'd just like to say to people who are watching and also people in the audience, I receive a lot of emails, some of them complaints, some of them asking me questions, and I would really like to encourage people to come to the town meeting and speak up and give your opinions, tell us your concerns. It's a lot, I think it's much more effective when you're here, and it ensures that your concerns will be addressed. Other than that, I'd like to wish everybody safe travels home.
Oh, it's going to sound a little repetitive. I know I brought this up last week, and with every storm it becomes more important. Please patrol your neighborhoods, find your fire hydrants, and please dig them out. We had two cadets, Matt Schupa and my son Chris Kelly, and Captain Pat Duty went out on Saturday for a couple hours, or Sunday, it was probably Sunday, and 3 or 4 hours digging hydrants out. Let me tell you, it's hard work. They did a bunch, but there's a lot left, and some of them they saw just the top. You know, that's all they could find. When seconds count, it matters. I want to thank the captain of the ambulance corps. He put on his ambulance corps website the thing to help dig them out. It's really important. Find them around your neighborhood. Please make sure we have access to them, because it really makes a difference. And with this storm coming, it's just going to get worse. The ones that are buried now are going to be more buried, so get them out now. Please, with these storms, be safe. Check on your neighbors who are elderly or sick. See if they need anything, and help take care of your community. That's all I got. Have a great night.
Thank you. Okay, I gave some of my comments about what I've done in conjunction with council members and the administrator as far as what happened in the last storm. I received, obviously, a lot of phone calls from residents. I got emails from residents, and they weren't happy. And guess what? I wasn't happy. Our streets were terrible, but I think we can get by that. A myriad of problems, from equipment failures to lack of salt to... Bottom line is, on Monday afternoon, I had a meeting of the powers that be within our borough, and I am hoping, I believe, that we addressed everything in an open and non-argumentative way and worked towards a solution to our problem. We looked at every conceivable way of handling the results of the prior storm and what we could do for the future storms that were coming. Some things can be taken care of, some can't. I said this a while ago, please drive a little slower. Don't park in the streets during a snowstorm. I even talked about putting up no parking snowstorm emergency sign. Think about it. We have limited crews out there plowing. Every time they have to go around the car, the first thing that happens is they have to slow down. So that slows the process down. The second thing it does, it leaves snow that's going to stay there and freeze, and then when they come by, if the car moves, it just makes it that much harder. In some instances, we will issue those things. I will point out something else that's going on that's very annoying to me is we have nowhere to put this snow. We do not haul it away. It stays on your streets. Each storm, your streets become progressively narrower. use some common sense. The other day, I happened to have a bus parked on my street and two cars, one going north and one going south, and neither would move. And they argued for like 5 minutes as to who would back up and who wouldn't back up.
Yeah.
The point I make is be aware
There
of
you
your
have it, right
surroundings.
there.
I know it's important to run in and pick up the kids or run into Ronnie's Bagels and pick up a bagel. It's dangerous out there. Broadway, especially when you open up your car doors, you're getting out into the traffic. Some people don't see you. You maybe not see someone. Someone is in a rush. People shouldn't be, but they are. Today, one of our DPW workers trying to do his job gets rear-ended because I guess someone was in a rush or someone was on a cell phone or someone was doing something in their car. He sustained an injury they shouldn't have to sustain. He has a problem now because someone wasn't aware of what's going on. All he did was try and do his job to the best of his ability. Please slow down. Bottom line, the buck stops here. I'm the mayor of this town. I take full responsibility for what happens. But I will tell you, while I apologize for the last time, hopefully we will be better next time. We won't have the problems. Between the administrator and I, we got salt delivered on today, so we will get through this storm. I've already started working on future storms. And as I said before, I'm working on other alternatives for snow. Secondly, with snow, for the first time I got calls on this. I've been asking for this for a long time. The police are enforcing sidewalk shoveling. You have to shovel your sidewalk within 24 hours of a snowstorm. And guess what? Don't shovel it into the street because the plows aren't coming back to shovel it back. One of our problems is the snow plows from landscapers that are plowing your driveways. Our guys go through, and then next thing you know, people will call me up. And in the two instances that I went out this week, both of them were attributable to the home that called me that there was a sheet of ice in front of the house, and I could see the plow lines going from their driveway across the street to the neighbor's house. We're not going to plow the streets 3 times because you want to do your driveway. Keep it on your property. We have nowhere to put this stuff. Shovel your sidewalks or you're going to get a ticket. And lastly, I want to congratulate Councilman Frank. He is a grandfather for the first time.
Yay!
Thank you. And with that, I'll ask our...
Oh, no, can I have a little report tonight?
Oh, okay,
Just
yeah,
a little
I'm sorry.
report. I received a phone call this afternoon from AT&T. They, in case you're out and about tomorrow, don't get nervous. They will be having a balloon flying 150 feet high over the proposed cell tower site by the DPW. They're going to be taking pictures so when they do the presentation, so don't get nervous. It's okay. The other thing, one more little thing.
That's not true. We're spying on you guys.
No, we're not. He might be, I won't. The other thing is I received a phone call from our fire chief today, and he had asked if we would consider, as a town, putting out a small emergency services reverse 911, the legal one that we can do, such as clearing your sidewalks, shovel out your fire hydrants, the storm's coming, remove all your vehicles from the roadway, emergency vehicles and snowplows need to get through. If possible, stay indoors and listen to the local news and alerts as the storm may be dangerous. And one of the main things he says, do not call 911 if you have your power out. That's only used in an emergency. So if the council is all right with that, I'd like to work with the chiefs to see if we could do...
You can do that on email.
Yeah, well, we can do that too. We could do that. We could do a blast.
What's the feeling in the
We
council?
could put on the
What's the
electric
thoughts on
sign,
that?
whatever you would like to do.
Weren't allowed to do anything with snow. Are we allowed to?
Well, not on the Swift Reach one that is sponsored by Verizon. We can't do that one. But
Okay.
then we have the other one that we use for the garbage. I found out that was
Oh, good. Yeah,
legit.
I'm all
We
in
can
favor
do
of
it.
that. Okay.
That one does have a small fee to go with it. I think it's a couple $100s that the chief was telling me. Again, it's up to you. We can go the other
I think
routes.
we should do it.
Absolutely. The more information,
right.
the better, the safer.
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
All right.
I just have a
Well,
question that I've wondered when I was sitting watching during the last storm. It was after, it was about 2:30 in the afternoon. I was sitting in Starbucks, and I watched the plows go down the street, and they had an impossible task because they were. That was a tough storm, and we did get a little behind it, and as a result of that, we had our plows out, and you could see the cars parked on the street were impeding the plows. Do we have a policy with respect to declaring streets on certain days snow emergency streets and no one could park there? I realize it might
That was
impede the business.
addressed by both Jason and I with the chief and the administrator, who all were in favor of it. The problem is enforcement. Because what happens is the people park in there, just running in for a bagel, they're just running in to pick up their children, and
You know what, I sat in that chair for 6 years, and I sat in that one for 5 more. I gotta tell you something. I heard that every time somebody got a ticket for parking in a fire zone.
I
That's
understand.
not
I'm
an
just
excuse.
relating to you what the, I have to go by what the chief of police said. Yes, I can declare a state of emergency. We have that power. The police chief, Jason, am I correct, was not willing to, he didn't feel it was a viable solution.
Larry, he also said the biggest problem is they normally have 2 guys on the road, sometimes 3.
Yeah.
But on a snowstorm, especially in the middle of the storm, they're running from accident to accident to call to call.
I understand that, but why
They
not
don't
put
have
the
time.
signs up? I've seen them, no parking, snow emergency,
If you put
and
a
at
sign
least
up,
that'll
he has
keep.
to enforce it, he
Well, I understand that, but it'll certainly keep a number of cars
I'll
off
put it
the
this way.
street.
You're the police
Commissioner?
liaison.
Yeah.
Talk to the chief. I will issue the edict. I am in favor of it. Councilman Kelly was there also. I forgot. He was in favor of it.
The rest of the council?
Councilman DeGeis was in favor of it. The administrator is the one that recommended it to me.
I think that what the chief was saying is it becomes difficult for them to enforce. It doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. It
But I
doesn't-
agree. I mean,
it's a
it's certainly a
deterrent to people
chilling
to do
effect
it.
on people parking
Yeah.
there. And I realize it does affect some of the businesses, but I got to tell you, I think that's part of the problem, is that when
It is
people are
part of
parked
the
on the
problem.
side of the street, that plows can't get through legitimately.
And it affects the businesses even worse the next day when you have a mound of snow
No, we're
because
sending
of
the
cars.
people in at 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning to clear that. Believe me, we are really catering as best as possible to our merchants. But talk to the chief, you're the liaison. I will issue the edict, or the administrator, one of us can do it, either one can do it,
Who puts out the signs?
the police. Or if I have DPW people not plowing, I'll have them do it.
Do we have streets that are designated that way? Because not
No,
every
we
street in
do it
town
on
is.
any street that you want.
Well, it's not my decision.
What I'm saying is any street that he deems it necessary. The obvious
Certainly the
streets
main
would
streets
be-
in town, as
The
a
obvious
minimum.
streets would be Broadway and Hillsdale Avenue.
Avenue, right.
But any street that the chief feels requires it because of, like, for example, around the nursery school over by the Methodist Church, he might feel that he wants to keep people off Magnolia so they can clear. We can do any street under our ordinance.
As far as, I realize enforcement because 2 guys on the street is a problem, but it doesn't take a lot of tickets for the next storm people not to park there. It doesn't take a lot.
Like I said, you're preaching to the choir, speak to the choir master.
Well, can I do I have the permission of the council to tell the chief this is what the council wants to do?
Yeah, I don't think, well, 3 out of, the mayor and 2 council people were very strong about it.
I think there's a lot more than 2
Monday.
council people that support this idea.
Everybody has no problem.
All right.
If he goes along with it, so be it. I'll personally put the signs out if that's what it takes, because it will make our streets safer.
What's that cell phone number again? Okay,
Ask Jason. But it's only available at 5 in the morning. By the way, no one called me. Anything else? Okay, we're gonna go to closed session, public, thank you. We might go back to open to take action, but I don't know.
This is Resolution 14055 to provide for a meeting not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12. It is necessary for the Borough Council, the Borough of Hillsdale, to discuss in a session not open to the public certain matters relating to the item or items authorized by NJSA 10:4-12B.
All right, John.
4, matters related to
I wanna
collective
change-
bargaining.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let the record reflect that all members of the governing body were present at the commencement of the executive session or present at the recommencement of the open session, as well as the borough clerk / interim borough administrator and the borough attorney. There was a discussion regarding the compensation for the interim borough administrator. She stepped out at the request of the governing body. The mayor has been authorized by the council to have a conversation with her in the next 24 hours regarding such, and we'll get back to the mayor, and we'll get back to the council as the results of such. No formal action need to be taken at this moment. There was also a discussion about the memorandum of agreement between Teamster Local 125 and the Borough of Hillsdale for a new collective bargaining agreement with the DPW. It is the recommendation of Borough Attorney / Labor Council that the governing body adopt Resolution 14056, which is a resolution authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute the memorandum of agreement and any subsequent collective bargaining agreement between the parties.
Can I ask for a motion?
Yep.
Motion?
Second.
Second? Okay, roll call please on approval of 14056.
Councilmember DeGeis?
Yes.
Councilmember Frank?
No.
Councilwoman Lewis?
Yes.
Councilman Morrison?
Yes.
Councilman Pizzella?
Yes.
Council President Kelly?
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes.
With that, Your Honor, the appropriate motion is a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Se-
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen at home. If you're still watching, be careful on those roads.
I thought I was in your way.
I'll put it in my notebook.
Oh, okay.